Once upon a time, long before cities rose or writing was invented, kings ruled the earth, but not ordinary kings. The first rulers, according to the Sumerian King List, were divine. They governed humanity directly for tens of thousands of years. In the early 1900s, archaeologists uncovered a clay prism under the ruins of Nippur, present-day Iraq. Known as the Weld-Blundell Prism, it contained an official record, a list of kings stretching back thousands of years. Unlike myths or legends, these were written as factual rulerships, complete with astonishingly precise reign lengths. Some kings ruled for 28,800 years, others for 36,000, 43,200, and more. If modern humans live around 100 years, how could this be possible? Scholars debated endlessly. Were these gods or symbolic numbers? The prism divides history clearly. The first 8 rulers, Alulim, Alalgar, Enmenluana, Enmengalana, Dumuzid, Ensipaziana, Enmendurana, and Ubara-Tutu reigned before a great flood, a deluge striking precisely after their rule, wiping the world clean. Later kings, like Gilgamesh, have lifespans consistent with human history and archaeological evidence. The Sumerians, one of the earliest civilizations in southern Mesopotamia, modern Iraq and Kuwait, believed kingship descended from heaven. It did not evolve from human systems. It was gifted, ordained, and divine. The first king, Alulim, ruled Eridu, the world's first city. Not a warrior or tribal leader, he was portrayed as a being of extraordinary wisdom, elevated by celestial authority. And his reign, 28,800 years. Next came Alalgar, governing Eridu for 36,000 years, bringing structure and order to the divine system of kingship. Then Enmenluana in Bad Tibira ruled for 43,200 years, the first industrial king, overseeing metallurgy and sacred crafts taught by the gods. His city became a forge of civilization, turning raw metals into tools and instruments, blurring the line between divine and human creation. Following him, Enmengalana, also in Bad Tibira, ruled for 28,800 years. Known as the Lord of the Celestial Me, he preserved the sacred decrees of the gods, taught humans celestial cycles, and laid the foundations of astronomy. Then came Dumuzid, the shepherd who reigned 36,000 years, famed for his relationship with the goddess Inanna, and for his symbolic death and rebirth, a myth that echoes later across religions. The last 3 pre-flood kings, Ensipaziana of Larak, Enmendurana of Sippar, and Ubara-Tutu of Shuruppak, reigned for 28,800, 21,000, and 18,600 years, respectively. Their rule marks the final age of divine governance. The flood came immediately after Ubara-Tutu's 18,600-year reign, ending the era of gods ruling Earth directly. The Great Flood and the dawn of human kingship. After Ubara-Tutu's 18,600-year reign, the Sumerian texts record a single line that changed everything. Then the flood swept over. This flood, echoed in myths across the world, wiped the slate clean. In Sumer, it was the flood of Ziusudra. In Babylon, Utnapishtim. In the Hebrew tradition, Noah. Different names, same story. Ziusudra, warned by the god Enki, built a vessel to survive the deluge. He preserved life and knowledge, emerging into a changed world, where divine kings no longer walked the earth. When the waters receded, kingship descended from heaven again, but this time it was mortal. The first human king, Jushur of Kish, inherited the divine blueprint of rulership, structured cities, law, temples aligned with the stars. The Sumerians didn't forget their divine predecessors. Even though gods no longer ruled, their influence endured. Astronomy, architecture, writing, and governance all carried traces of pre-flood wisdom. The human kings of Kish and later cities were inheritors, not innovators, continuing patterns set by Alulim, Enmenluana, and Dumuzid. The flood wasn't just destruction, it was a reset, a bridge between ages. Divine rule gave way to human ambition, but the framework, kinship, sacred cycles, celestial knowledge remained intact. Even today, the Sumerian King List reminds us of this ancient inheritance. It shows a pattern. Civilization arises under guidance, faces catastrophe, and then renews itself. From the first divine kings to mortal rulers, the list reflects both myth and memory, a map connecting humanity to forces beyond comprehension. And if the pre-flood kings truly walked the earth, perhaps their legacy still echoes in our institutions, our knowledge, and even our understanding of the stars.
The flood ended an era, but the Sumerian King List remained, a silent witness to a world that once existed beyond comprehension. Today, the Weld-Blundell Prism rests in Oxford, its wedge-shaped clay inscribed with the names and reigns of kings who ruled Earth long before history as we know it began. What does it tell us? Was it myth, history, or something in between? The first kings, Alulim, Alalgar, Enmenluana, Enmengalanana, Dumuzid, Ensipiziana, Enmenduranana, and Ubaratutu may never have walked the earth as humans do, yet their recorded reigns, measured in sars and cycles, suggest a civilization that understood time, astronomy, and divine order with astonishing precision. The pattern is striking. Long reigns before the flood, human lifespans afterward. Civilizations across the world, Egypt, India, Babylon, echo the same story. Gods or semi-divine rulers, followed by catastrophe, then rebirth. This consistency raises profound questions. Could these kings have been immortal beings, extraterrestrial caretakers, or symbolic records of pre-human civilizations? Even without definitive answers, the King List shaped the framework of civilization. It carried knowledge, city building, governance, celestial patterns, law, metallurgy, and astronomy. The pre-flood kings may have vanished, but the systems they established endured, guiding the human rulers of Kish and beyond. From Eridu to Bad Tibera, from Larak to Shuruppak, the Sumerians preserved a memory of humanity's earliest rulers, a memory where kingship was divine, cities were sacred, and the balance between heaven and earth was maintained. Whether literal or symbolic, the King List reminds us humanity's story is connected to something far greater, a lineage of wisdom, order, and cosmic patterns that stretches back to the very dawn of civilization. The lesson echoes across millennia. Civilizations rise and fall, floods come and go, but knowledge endures. Kings may die, gods may vanish, but the principles of order, learning, and cosmic awareness remain, etched in clay, transmitted across generations, and carried forward in the structures, stories, and systems of the world we live in today. Perhaps the Sumerian King List is more than history. It is a bridge between myth and reality, between divine and human, between the past and our present. It whispers a single, haunting truth. Before us, Earth was ruled by beings who lived by different laws, guided by higher wisdom, and left behind a legacy we are only beginning to understand. And in that legacy, we find not just the memory of kings, but the memory of civilization itself. Before the written word, before cities rose, before mankind walked alone, there were kings. Kings who ruled not as humans, but as something greater. Their reigns ended, their cities fell, but their knowledge endured. And that knowledge, it lives in us all.